I'm looking at your file here, and just a couple things that I noticed that you can definitely improve upon here, but I think you have a great start. I don't quite see what you're talking about with the page text frame, so I'm just going to go ahead and critique what I see here. All right, I would first go into your style sheets and try to get this a little bit smaller if you can. Go ahead and shrink that up. Get that to fit a little bit better within a smaller area. It can only get so small, so do the best that you can to get it as small as you can. The smaller the better. That way it doesn't look so clunky, and just make sure too that you're fitting this right smack dab in the middle. And I'm sorry if this is really loud. I'm actually outside, so people are mowing the grass. They're getting all kinds of stuff done today, so you can hear all kinds of things going on. Change the one over here. You can see how much bigger that one is. Draw out your median line. Go ahead and set that in there. And then if you want to make sure that these two are aligned, you can either do snap to align or just do a shift select. Go up to align and then align the tops. There you go. Okay, save that. And then go back. You can actually take out the fit me. Let's see here. Yeah, actually right here. I would probably just, because it's repeated, just put the address there, or the email address, web address there. Put a space there too. Space after the bullet point, and then fitme.com. Save it. There you have the not only the logo but also the email or the web address. Everything looks good here. I think you did a great job with that. On this page, the headline's getting really close to your top part here. So what I would suggest is changing the leading in between these two to pull it together. And let me see if there's a space. There we go. Just delete that space and do a shift return. And if you need to add more leading in there or space after, you can adjust that here. Oops, you know what? Let's set this back to 0. That's what's going on. And then that way, when you do return, let's see. There we go. Okay. So it's kind of pulling it down. I would put like a 0.026 space after that. I just deleted that space and then added in there. I would probably make your headline a little bit bigger too. You have room there, so why not make it a little bit bigger? Maybe even as big as your, and of course now we have to adjust this again. Put it down to 0.125 space after. And then I would center your byline. Go ahead and go to, because you have everything else centered, just go align, center. Keep it consistent in regards to just your headline and your byline. All right, next I would grab your line and go ahead and add that in there. And you could pull this out, right under your other subhead here. And then I would bring this all down. So you have just a little bit more space in between here. The next thing I would do is pull this down, and it looks like you have a space right before your first subhead, so go ahead and delete that out. Recenter this so you have just a little bit of space in between there. Let's bring this down a little bit. And you can actually copy this and bring this down here too if you want. Completely up to you. Now you can kind of see it coming together when you hide that. You can make this a little thinner. I would, just because you don't want it to be the emphasis. So I would put like a 0.5 or 0.25 thickness on that, on both of those. 0.5 maybe. See how it kind of gets a little thinner. And you can even give it a different stroke color as well, if you don't want it to be super noticeable. I think for this one, maybe we'll do like a little bit of a gray. Let's do like a 55. Okay, so it's a little bit more subtle. Okay, everything else, except for, it looks like you have some issues with align. Oh, there we go. I just bumped that down a little bit. That looks good. Although now this isn't aligning with this, so you just have to pop this up just a little bit more. Yep, right there. Okay, and then this stuff can be pulled down as well. So it's all about adjusting. So that looks pretty good. Let's bring up this bar a little bit. There we go. All right, so that looks pretty good. Next area would be this next page here. I would take down this word think, do a shift return. Okay, pull quote looks good. Oh, you have a weird space here. Just delete that space up so it pulls that up. And because you have a weird little a widow there, I'm going to pull this image up just to see if I can adjust that. Just like bump it up a little bit. It looks like it's not really changing too much. Okay, we'll leave that where it's at, and what we'll do is we will bump down where it says B all the way there. Do a shift return. You have a weird space here, and a weird space here, and a weird space here now. So just kind of paying attention to those. You probably did like a shift return at some point, and then it reshifted, and everything just kind of moved. So that's like pretty typical. Now I'm going to try and even this out a little bit better. Again. When you do this, see how you, let me see if I can get this maybe in the center here. There we go, it's center. You can see how certain things, where you had shift returns in there, maybe bumping in a weird way. So just kind of getting those extra spaces out. Just being aware of that. That's always why it's really good to get your images in first where you want them. I know it's a little tough because you're kind of shifting things as you go. But that's pretty important. The only thing I have down here is just one line of text, which is not really desirable. So I'm going to, oh, and then this too. Shift return there. See how much we have left here. It looks pretty even. I'm going to make this just a little bigger. And that'll kind of bump things down. Just pay attention to everything kind of aligning and weird spaces here. Okay, that looks better. Getting rid of widows looks good. Okay, so that looks good. And then on this page, I would try, it looks like you have some more text that's not showing here, so make sure you're showing all text. And let's see how you did it over here. You did like a color block over here. You might want to just bleed this off and even pull this down just a little bit just to kind of give it some more room. And it just kind of makes it look kind of interesting, a little bit more visually interesting. You can also put a drop shadow on this. If you go up to Object, Effects, Drop Shadow, just make it pop a little bit. I would do a subtle one though, so I would take it down about 0.5 0.26 and the opacity down a little lower. So it's just a real subtle box there. You can still keep this as is, but if you do keep it like this, what I would suggest you do is maybe center it, just because I think it might look better centered. It might, oh, this is given a body copy. Not sure if that was supposed to be like that. Nevertheless, oh, cancel. I don't think that was supposed to be like that. Let's see. We have a pull quote here. Headline, folio, byline. First article. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what style this is, so I'm going to just create a new style. And I'm going to create, I'm going to say second quote, pull quote. And click OK. And I'm going to apply it. And I'm going to double click on full quote, and I'm going to go to indents and spacing. I'm going to choose center, click OK. Then what we can do is, you have a text wrap on here, so let's go to text wrap. Oh yeah, you do, but it's not spaced out. I would space this out evenly so you have at least 0.1875 space around it. Okay, that'll give you a nice area of space there. You might want to even integrate this image with this, almost like pull it together. That's kind of nice. You can make this a little bit smaller based on what you have here, and go to text wrap again and just make sure you have equal spacing. Yeah, I would go about 1.225. I think that's probably good. It's not as big as the other quote. Let's move this up just a little bit. Okay. Let's move it down. Let's see how this looks down here, because it's actually going with this. This area over here is kind of where that reads to. Same baseline here. That actually works out pretty good. I would do exercise, shift, improve sleep. Just check all your rags, anything that needs to be pushed down. Adjust that. You have a weird space here, space here. There we go. And then you have this type here, which I think this all kind of works. Okay, so those are my suggestions. It's kind of like massaging it a little bit more, making those changes in terms of those spaces that are weird in there, just take care of. But everything looks great. I think you did a great job. You might want to consider just putting a nice little color block behind her. It doesn't have to be anything big. Completely up to you. You have to kind of decide on that with the idea of your folio too. So, you know, you might want to kind of play around with that. But other than that, those are the changes I would suggest to just kind of pay attention to, but I think you're on the right path. All right, let's see what this side looks like. Oh, I forgot this page 7. You just want to kind of fix this here. You want at least one, I'm sorry, more than one sentence here. So what I would suggest, you bumping her down, and there you go. You got 2 sentences now, so that looks good. All right, let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this helps. I didn't see the text box that you were referring to, so I hope that you got that resolved.